friends, welcome back to our channel Legal Provisions. I am Aina and we are learning income tax. The main topic today we were going to do was salaries, but in the last video, that is about residential status, I missed explaining section 5 that is needed to be considered along with the section 6 that is residential status. So before going to salaries, we will be covering today section 5 that is scope of income. Now in the previous video we have discussed that residential status is important for determining the taxability and how this taxability of income is taxability is being determined. That is given under scope of income, that is section 5, means which income is taxable to which person, which category of person, either in case of resident and ordinary resident, or in the case of resident but not ordinary resident, or in the case of non-resident. So without any delay we shall start the topic. Section 5. Section 5 says that two types of income are there. Firstly, there is an Indian income and second is foreign income. Now which income is taxable to which person? Either an Indian income or a foreign income. Which is taxable in India? Now before understanding that, we shall be aware that what Indian income is, what foreign income is. In this chart, it is very clearly given that Indian income is the income which is either received in India or it accrues or arises in India. Any one thing it is happening in India, either receipt basis or accrual basis. And in the case of foreign income, both are outside India. That is, the income is accruing or arising outside India and also it is being received outside India. Received here is actual receipt of income. Okay, so incidence of tax on a taxpayer depends on his residential status as well as the place of accrual or receipt of income. We have discussed about it, how residential status determines the taxability, and along with that it is necessary to understand how the place of accrual and place of receipt of income affects the taxability of each person on the basis of residential status. Section 5 says that in the case of ordinary resident, income can be from any source. Now, which is it? It is explained under is received or is deemed to be received in India in such year by or on behalf of such person. That means actually receipt of income. Then, second is or accrues or arises or is deemed to accrue or arise in India during such year, or accrues or arises to him outside India during such year. That means in the case of ordinary resident, both the incomes are taxable, that is Indian income as well as foreign income. First, A and B are saying about Indian income, that is receipt basis, and B part is saying the accrual basis, that both are if the income is being received in India, second it is arising in India, it is about Indian income. And third is saying it is accruing outside India. That means all the cases are taxable in the case of ordinary resident. Then in case of person non-ordinary resident in India, within the meaning of subsection 6, that means additional conditions. The person which accrues or arises to him outside India shall not be so included unless it is derived from a business controlled in or a profession set up in India. It is a proviso to section 5 subsection 1. Section 5 subsection 1 first part, main part is saying about the income taxable to ordinary resident, and proviso is saying that in the case of not ordinary resident, if the income is arising or accruing outside India, it shall not be taxable until and unless that income is derived from business controlled in India or profession set up in India. Then we say, subject to the provisions of this act, the total income of any previous year of a person who is non-resident. Now it is saying about non-resident. It includes all income from whatever source derived, which is received or is deemed to be received in India in such year or by on behalf of such person. Second, accrues or arises or deemed to accrue or arises in India during such year. It is said, it is given under section 5 subsection 2. That means in the case of non-resident, only Indian income is taxable to him in India, not the foreign income. Non-resident है, बाहरला बंदा है, बाहर उसको इनकम रिसीव हो रही है, उसका इंडिया से कोई लेना देना नहीं है, ना उसका ना उसकी इनकम का, इसीलिए वो इंडिया में टैक्सेबल नहीं होगी. Now further, section 9 also is also linked with it. It says that broadly speaking, business income of a foreign company or other non-resident person or from any asset or source of income located in India, and to the extent such income is attributable to the operations carried out in India. That means it is having a link in India. Either the income is accruing in India, either income is accruing through a business connection in India, either through an asset or source connected with India. That is why in the case of non-resident, to that extent only it will be taxable in India. Now in very short form, in a crux form, you need to learn this table. No need to learn about the earlier provision what it is saying. It is a crux of that provision only. बहुत ही easy form learn करने का. First it is saying that income received in India. Income received in India we have done. It is taxable in all the cases. Then income deemed to be received in India. Also it will be taxable in all the cases. Then income accrue or arises in India. Obviously if income is accruing in India, the person is earning income in India, it will be taxable in all the cases. Then income deemed to be accrue or arises in India, again it will be taxable in India. Income accrue or arises outside India. Now it is saying about foreign income. ऊपरली थी इंडियन इनकम तो सब पे टैक्सेबल है. ठीक है, अब आई फॉरेन इनकम की बारी. फॉरेन इनकम के केस में सिर्फ और सिर्फ ROR के केस में टैक्सेबल है, यानी कि ऑर्डिनरी रेसिडेंट. सेक्शन 5 सबसेक्शन 1, द मेन इट वाज सेइंग दैट the income accrue or arises outside India, it will be taxable in case of ordinary resident. If we see to proviso given to section 5 subsection 1, it says that it will not be taxable to the not ordinary resident if the income is arising outside. साथ में ये लिखा था until it is received, it is from the business controlled or set up in India. I have given in the next point that point for R and OR. That is, income accrues or arises outside India from business profession controlled set up in India. It will be taxable in ROR and RNOR. Okay. और नॉन रेजिडेंट का तो कोई ताल्लुक ही नहीं है. इनकम बाहर उसने अर्न की है, बंदा नॉन रेजिडेंट है, इट इज नो कनेक्शन विद इंडिया, सो इट विल नॉट बी टैक्सेबल. फॉरेन इनकम विल नॉट बी टैक्सेबल एट ऑल. ईदर दैट business connection is in India, but for that connection he is earning that income outside. But if the connection is in India, he is earning through India, that will be considered as Indian income and it will be taxable. Then income other than above, no relation in India. भाई ROR तो हर एक केस में टैक्सेबल है, चाहे वो फॉरेन इनकम है चाहे इंडियन इनकम है, वो तो टैक्सेबल ही होगा. और नॉन रेजिडेंट के केस में देखा जाए तो सिर्फ ही सिर्फ इंडियन इनकम टैक्सेबल होगी. जो रिलेशन ही नहीं है इंडिया से तो टैक्सेबल क्यों होगी. और नॉट ऑर्डिनरी रेसिडेंट में भी सेम है कि वो भी क्यों टैक्सेबल होगी. ओके, नाउ वी कम टू अवर मेन पार्ट, सैलरीज. सैलरी होती क्या है, व्हाट इज सैलरी? A layman language, in layman thinking, we say that salary is given by a person who employs a person below him, who employs a person for providing him for getting his services, right? किसी पर्सन ने अपने नीचे या किसी पर्सन को एम्प्लॉयमेंट दी है, अपने साथ वो काम करवा रहा है, ठीक है, उसे काम दे रहा है और उसको इनकम दे रहा है, उसे हम क्या कहते हैं? सैलरी कहते हैं। जॉब कर रहा है कोई पर्सन किसी के अंडर, क्या मिलती है उसे? सैलरी। ये लेमन लैंग्वेज है, ठीक है। अब एक्चुअली सैलरी में क्या क्या इंक्लूड होता है वो देखते हैं हम। अब नाउ व्हाट वी कंसीडर फॉर अंडर द हेड ऑफ सैलरी। फर्स्ट इज बेसिक पे। नॉर्मली जो हम किसी को कॉन्ट्रैक्ट के थ्रू हम कहते हैं कि हम इतनी पे देंगे आपको, यू आर बीइंग एम्प्लॉयड फॉर दिस मच अमाउंट, दैट इज नोन एज बेसिक पे। देन डियरनेस अलाउंस। Now what is dearness allowance? It is the allowance given to mitigate the impact of inflation. We are aware about inflation. महंगाई होती है, उस महंगाई का जो असर ख़त्म करने के लिए हम एम्प्लॉयर जो है एम्प्लॉय को डियरनेस अलाउंस देता है, ओके। देन कमीशंस, employer gives the commission to the employees, that is included in salary. Then we include under the head of salary the allowances. Allowances are non-cash, it is a cash benefits, and then perquisites, it's a non-cash benefits. Then retirement benefits. अब basic pay से याद आया मुझे, pay scale, you must be aware about pay scale, that certain employees are being employed and there is a contract of pay scale. I'll show you. इनकम लिखी है कॉन्ट्रैक्ट के अंदर इस तरह से, इस तरह से कॉन्ट्रैक्टेड है इन पेमेंट ऑफ सैलरी। ये क्या कहता है? 15,000 हाइफन 500, देन सॉरी 20,000, 20,000, then 1,000, then 25,000, ओके। अब ये क्या है? हर साल जो हमारी इनकम इंक्रीज होगी, कि 15,000 हमारी इनिशियल इनकम है, देन एवरी ईयर इट विल बी इंक्रीमेंटेड बाय 500 until it becomes 20,000, okay. Then after it the income reaches 20,000 in the previous year, then the increment will be of 1,000. If the employment continues, the increment will be 1,000 until and unless the income income reach 25,000, okay. This is pay scale, हम इसे pay scale कहते हैं। Now come to section 17. Yes, now come to section 17. It says that section 17 defines salary. section 17 में 3 चीज़ें define की गई हैं: salary, perquisites and salary in lieu of profits. Now first is salary. Main salary defined है section 17 sub clause 1. It says that salary includes wages, pensions, gratuity, fees, commission, perquisites, profit in lieu of salary, then advance salary, leave encashment, employees contribution to recognized provident fund of salary, and employees contribution to national pension scheme. Wages, basic pay. Pension, जो रिटायरमेंट बेनिफिट है. ग्रेचुइटी इज ऑल्सो रिटायरमेंट बेनिफिट. देन वी से फीस, any fees is given, any commission is being given, any perquisite, any non-cash benefit, that is. Then profit in lieu of salary, if any employer is not paying salary of that year and he pays a profit in lieu of salary, he is giving profits from the business to that employee in the place of salary, that is included in salary. Then advance salary, then leave encashment. If person has been given has been provided under the contract that you are allowed for this much leave in a whole year, if that person is not enjoying that leave, he is waiving off that leave, then that leave will be encashed by the employer. Then employer's contribution to the recognized provident fund of salary and employer's contribution to national pension scheme, all this included is under salary. Now we come to concepts of salaries. The term salary includes remuneration in any form of personal services under an expressed or implied contract. Layman language, layman thinking what salary is. Okay, now essential concepts are employer-employee relationship. सैलरी वही होती है जहाँ पे एम्प्लॉयर या एम्प्लॉई होते हैं. इफ देयर इज नो एम्प्लॉयर एंड एम्प्लॉई, देयर विल बी नो सैलरी. Amount received by an individual shall be treated as salaries if the relationship between the payer and the payee, that means the person who is paying the income, who is paying the salary, okay, and second is and the payee is of employer and employee or master and servant. उन दोनों के बीच में रिलेशनशिप एक एम्प्लॉयर और एम्प्लॉई का है या मास्टर और सर्वेंट का है. ठीक है. एवरी पेमेंट मेड बाय एन एम्प्लॉयर टू हिज एम्प्लॉई फॉर रेंडरिंग हिज सर्विसेज इज चार्जेबल टू टैक्स एज सैलरी. कोई भी पेमेंट एम्प्लॉयर दे रहा है एम्प्लॉई को, किसके लिए? फॉर द सर्विसेज ही इज गिविंग टू हिम, दैट विल बी टैक्सेबल अंडर head of salaries. Now for example, salary paid to a partner of a firm is not chargeable to tax. Why? Because there is no relationship of partner, employee and employer. Partner is one of the owner of the firm, okay, so that is why there is no contract of employment on the basis of which that person is being employed. This is included under the salary the partner is getting is considered as profits and gains from business and not as salaries. That is why it is not chargeable to tax under head of salaries, but it is chargeable to tax under head of business and profession. Now salary from more than one source, that means अगर कोई person एक एम्प्लॉयर से ज़्यादा एक साल के अंदर सैलरी रिसीव कर रहा है तो वो सैलरीज के हेड के अंडर टैक्सेबल होगा, चाहे जितने मर्जी एम्प्लॉयज़, चाहे वो पार्ट टाइम जॉब कर रहा है दो जगह पर, दोनों एम्प्लॉयर से जो उसे सैलरी मिल रही है वो साल के अंदर वो टैक्सेबल होगी. इफ़ एन इंडिविजुअल इज रिसीविंग सैलरी फ्रॉम मोर देन वन एम्प्लॉयर इन अ रेलेवेंट स्पेसिफिक ईयर, salary from each source is taxable under head of salary. Second is salary from former employer or present employer or prospective employer. एक साल के अंदर सपोज कर लो आप पहले एम्प्लॉयर के अंडर काम कर रहे हो और वो आपकी जो एम्प्लॉयमेंट है टर्मिनेट हो गई है. आफ्टर दैट यू आर वर्किंग अंडर एनी अदर एम्प्लॉयर एंड एट द एंड ऑफ द ईयर you got employment from any other person, you get employment under any other person, that is prospective employer, and he has given you advance payment. उसमें क्या होगा? You are not still have started going there, but he has given you an advance payment during the contract. Then all the salary, each and every salary will be clubbed and it will be chargeable to tax under the head of salary. Foregoing of salary. If salary has become due and he is waiving off, he is foregoing his salary, that does not mean that that income will not be taxable under the head of salary. Once the income becomes due, it will be chargeable to tax. Okay, whether it does not matter whether that person is accepting that salary or not. Then we comes for surrender of salary. Now foregoing of salary and surrender of salary are totally different. In surrender of salary he has accepted and has surrendered to central government. He has given his income to central government. In that case, it will be exempt from tax. However, if an employee surrenders his salary to central government under section 2 of voluntary surrender of salaries exempt from tax act 1961, such surrendered salary is exempted from tax. Salary paid tax free. If the employee is getting his salary along with it also gets the amount of tax, that means the employer is giving the salary but also the amount of tax that is being paid by that is to be paid by the employee, he is giving along with the salary. That is known as salary paid tax free. Now he has the person he is not the assessee is the employee is not giving the tax from his own pocket. Now the employer is giving that is known as tax free salary. Okay, the employer bears the liability to pay tax. Okay, then place of accrual, salary earned is in India or is deemed to be accrue or arises in India even if the payment is done outside India. कहाँ पर ड्यू हो रही है? द प्लेस वेयर द इनकम इज बिकमिंग ड्यू, द प्लेस वेयर द पर्सन इज गिविंग हिज सर्विसेज is in India. Okay, then for example it has no concern whether it is being received outside India or not, it will be taxable under the head of salary in all the cases. Okay, for example, if the salary is paid outside for providing services in India is deemed to be accrued in India. Leaves for example we can यहाँ पे हम कह सकते हैं कि अगर कोई फॉरेन से पर्सन आया, वो अपना यहाँ सर्विसेज दे रहा है और चला गया, हम उसके बैंक अकाउंट में इनकम डाल रहे हैं, उसको रिसीव कहाँ पे हुई है? एक्चुअली वेयर ही इज़ रिसीविंग आउटसाइड इंडिया, बट वेयर दैट पर्सन इज अर्निंग दैट इनकम इज इन इंडिया, ही इज़ गिविंग सर्विसेज इन इंडिया. That is why place of accrual is mandatory. It determines whether that income is Indian income or foreign income. Now, leave salary paid abroad. Leave salary हमने दी है, बाहर पे की है, लेकिन उसने leave salary earn कहाँ की है? इंडिया में earn की है. That means that is Indian income and it shall be taxable under the head of salary in India. Now we come to basis of charge. That were important concept that is needed to be cleared before determining what salary is, how the salary is being charged, what are the main details of the salaries. Now basis of charge, it is a charging section basically. So salary is charged to tax either on due or receipt basis, whichever is earlier. Under section 15 clause A, it is saying that या तो साल में इनकम ड्यू हो रही है या फिर उसने एडवांस रिसीव कर लिया, कोई भी चीज़ अर्लियर हो रही है, जो चीज़ पहले हो रही है जिस साल में हो रही है उस साल में वो टैक्सेबल होगी. दैट मीन्स आपने 2019 टू 2020 के बीच में आपने मुझे सर्विसेज दी, ठीक है, इस साल के अंदर आपकी इनकम ड्यू हो गई, चाहे रिसीव आपने अगले साल की. आई एम पेइंग यू सैलरी नेक्स्ट ईयर. Now it will be chargeable to taxed in the year for the previous year 1920 and will be taxed in the assessment year 2021. अब सेकेंड केस, मैंने आपको कॉन्ट्रैक्ट पे रख लिया है, आपने अभी मुझे सैलरी, आपने मुझे भी सर्विसेज देनी है, लेकिन आपने मुझे क्या कहा कि मुझे अभी पेमेंट की ज़रूरत है, मुझे अभी पैसों की ज़रूरत है, मुझे पहले पैसे दे दो, मैं आपको सर्विसेज दूंगा अगले साल. यानी कि एक महीने पहले आप मुझसे मांग रहे हो. इन द मंथ ऑफ मार्च, स्टार्टिंग ऑफ मार्च, यू आर आस्किंग दैट आई वांट द एडवांस सैलरी फॉर द नेक्स्ट मंथ ऑल्सो, फॉर द मंथ ऑफ अप्रैल ऑल्सो, एंड आई एम गिविंग यू सैलरी फॉर द मंथ ऑफ अप्रैल इन द मंथ ऑफ मार्च. दैट इज एडवांस. ओके, आई एम गिविंग यू इन एडवांस द सैलरी for the services that you are going to provide me in April. So that will be taxable in the previous year only. That means in the year of that is in 1920, in which you have taken the advance. Okay, whichever is earlier. Then next is any salary paid or allowed in the previous year which is not due or before it became due, that is advance payment to him. That means again वही advance वाली बात आ गई. Any salary paid or allowed in previous year which has not become due. आपको मार्च में दे दी मैंने. Okay, it is given under section 15 sub clause B. Third is any arrears of salary paid or allowed to him in the previous year. आपकी पिछले साल में ड्यू हो गई थी, मैंने आपको अगले साल में पे किए. योर इनकम वॉज ड्यू एट द एंड ऑफ ऑन 31st March 2020 and I am paying you salary in the year in the month of April and 30th, यानी कि 30th April 2020. ये क्या हुआ? arrears of salary, it has already become due but you have received it later. Now in that case, if here it is a condition, if that income is not taxed in the previous year, that means in 1920 you have not this income has not been taxed in that year, in that case it will become taxable in the coming year in which you have actually received that is arrears of salary. Okay, this is basis of charge saying about. Now taxability of advance salary and arrears of salary received. मैंने बहुत ही अच्छे से एक्सप्लेन किया पीछे कि एडवांस सैलरी कैसे टैक्सेबल होगी और एरियर्स ऑफ सैलरी कैसे टैक्सेबल होगी. इसको डिटेल में और देखते हैं. द सैलरी रिसीव्ड बिफोर इट बिकम ड्यू इज नोन एज एडवांस सैलरी. सच सैलरी रिसीव्ड इन प्रीवियस ईयर इज टैक्सेबल अंडर द हेड ऑफ सैलरी. There is a difference between advance salary and advance against salary. Here is the next point. हमने advance salary दी है आपको, यानी कि पहले आपको सैलरी दे दी हमने, और दूसरी तरफ है advance against salary. It is a type of loan. आपने पहले लोन दे दिया और वो जो आपकी सैलरी के अगेंस्ट कट हो रही है. हम क्या कहते हैं, कई बार एम्प्लॉयर को कहते हैं सर आप हमें 10,000 अभी दे दो, वो बाद में जब भी मेरी सैलरी ड्यू होगी सब तब तक साथ साथ मेरी एडजस्ट कर लेना मेरी सैलरी के साथ. ठीक है, मैं आपको रीपे नहीं करूँगा, वो मेरी सैलरी के साथ बाद में एडजस्ट कर लेना अगर मैंने आपको रीपे नहीं की. ओके, दैट इज एडवांस अगेंस्ट सैलरीज. The advance against salary is an advance taken by an employee from the employer which is adjusted against salary when it becomes due and thus it is not taxable. अगर तो आप एडवांस सैलरी ले रहे हो, आपको पहले रिसीव हो गई सैलरी, then it will be said as it will be taxable. अगर आप एडवांस अगेंस्ट सैलरी ले रहे हो, बहुत सारा पैसा ले रहे हो, बाद में कहते जब जब मेरी सैलरी ड्यू होती जाएगी उसके साथ एडजस्ट करते जाना मेरी. ठीक है, मुझे तब सैलरी पे मत करना, वो एडजस्ट कर देना मेरी सैलरी उसके साथ. ठीक है, उसको वो हमारी टैक्सेबल नहीं होती. जब ड्यू होगी तभी वो हमारी टैक्सेबल होगी, पहले नहीं. नाउ अरियर्स ऑफ सैलरी, द सैलरी विच इज रिसीव्ड लेटर देन इट बिकम्स ड्यू. Such income is taxable in the previous year in which it becomes due. लेकिन थर्ड केस क्या कहता था हमारा सेक्शन 15 का, कहता कि अगर आपने उस टाइम टैक्सेबल नहीं हुई आपकी वो सैलरी ड्यू बेसिस पे, तो जब रिसीव हुई है आपकी तब टैक्सेबल हो गई, तब नहीं बच सकते आप. लेकिन अगर ऑलरेडी आप पे कर चुके हैं टैक्स उस इनकम पे, देन अगेन योर दैट इनकम विल नॉट बी टैक्सेबल इन द ईयर इन विच यू आर रिसीविंग इट. क्लियर? बहुत डिटेल में समझाइए है मैंने पॉइंट आपको. अब हम केस की बात करते हैं. बहुत अच्छा केस है. वीडी तलवार हु इज डेड एंड आफ्टर हिम हिज हेयर्स वर्सेस द कमिश्नर ऑफ इनकम टैक्स CIT. इट इज अ केस ऑफ 1963 AIR 1583. यहाँ पे असेसी जो है MD तलवार है. He was employed as general manager by a company. Now, according to the service agreement, he was to get 2,000 per month as his salary with an increment of rupees 100 every year. Deduction of income tax, that is TDS, absence of duty, etc. could be made from his salary. The agreement of services was for 5 years. 5 साल का कॉन्ट्रैक्ट था, बट द सेम कुड बी टर्मिनेटेड. ये कॉन्ट्रैक्ट था कि एम्प्लॉयर जो है उसकी सर्विसेज टर्मिनेट कर सकता था, वो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट टर्मिनेट कर सकता था, लेकिन उसके लिए उसे 12 महीने का नोटिस देना पड़ता था, या फिर पेमेंट देनी पड़ी थी सैलरी के जगह पे. यानी कि अगर आपने नोटिस नहीं दिया तो उस 12 महीने का उसे सैलरी देना पड़ना था. ये 2 ऑप्शंस थे उसके पास. उसके बाद SSC joined as general manager on May 1st, 1946 and his services was terminated with effect from August 31st, 1947. अब ये टर्मिनेट हुई थी एम्प्लॉय की गलती की वजह से नहीं, कोई उसने मिसकंडक्ट नहीं किया था, लेकिन जो कंपनी नहीं चाहती थी उसके साथ एम्प्लॉयमेंट कंटिन्यू करना है, और उसने जो था कंपनी ने कोई नोटिस नहीं दिया 12 महीने का, और उसकी जगह उसे सैलरी दे दी, सैलरी इन ल्यू. ओके. अब उन्होंने एसएससी ने क्या कहा, एसएससी कहता कि ये तो मेरी कंपनसेशन थी, जो 12 महीने की जो उन्होंने सैलरी पे किया मुझे, वो कंपनसेशन थी, वो मेरी सैलरी नहीं थी, इसलिए वो टैक्सेबल नहीं होगी. लेकिन क्या कोर्ट ने हेल्ड किया, कोर्ट हेल्ड दैट दिस पेमेंट वॉज हिज सैलरी इन लीव ऑफ नोटिस. यानी कि नोटिस देने की बजाय उसने सैलरी दी थी. ये साफ साफ लिखा है, इट इज सैलरी इन लीव ऑफ नोटिस एंड इट इज नॉट अ कंपनसेशन फॉर लॉस ऑफ एम्प्लॉयमेंट एंड दस दिस इनकम वॉज टैक्सेबल. होप यू अंडरस्टैंड दिस केस. बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग केस है. थैंक यू सो मच. दिस वॉज for today. Hope you like my video. Press the like button, subscribe my channel, share it if you like it, and press the bell icon. Thank you so much.